All right, today we're going deep. We're not just watching a story, we're going to deconstruct how one of the greatest characters in TV history was literally born in a single hour of a screenplay.
So let's jump right in. The script throws us, and I mean throws us, right into the middle of total chaos. You've got a guy in his underwear, mind you, recording what he thinks are his last words, the sirens are wailing, it's just pure madness.
And that's the hook, right? The whole pilot is basically the answer to one giant, explosive question. It's an absolute masterclass in how to introduce a character. And believe me, once it gets its hooks in you, it does not let go.
So to figure out how we got to that guy in the desert, the script, written by the brilliant Vince Gilligan, yanks us back in time. We see that title card pop up, 1 month earlier. And what we see is, well, it's just this soul-crushing routine. Every single detail in the screenplay paints a picture of a life that's completely devoid of passion or joy or even control. I mean, from the pathetic stair-stepper in the dark to, get this, a silent breakfast of something called sizzle-lean bacon substitute. Ugh.
And this right here, this is the heart of Walt's humiliation. It's this insane contrast, right? On one side, you've got this brilliant mind, a guy who helped found a company now worth billions, a guy who won awards. And on the other, he's trapped. He's working a second job, a really demeaning one, where he's literally wiping down the fancy BMW of one of his own smirking students. You know, the gap between what he could have been and what he is, it's not a gap, it's a canyon.
In this feeling of being powerless, it follows him right home. We see him at his own birthday party, and he's basically invisible. He's just a ghost at the head of the table, completely swallowed up by his brother-in-law Hank. And Hank is this larger-than-life DEA agent who just sucks all the air out of the room with his big voice and his swagger.
And this line from Hank, wow, this is just the perfect summary of Walt's tragedy. All that immense potential he had, it's not even his story anymore. It's just a little anecdote someone else tells about him, over some chain restaurant appetizers. It's a footnote to a life he completely missed out on.
Okay, so you're probably wondering, how does a guy this beaten down, this powerless, ever find the strength to do anything? Well, the script gives him two massive, brutal catalysts that just absolutely shatter his quiet little life.
The first one hits him in this total haze of disorientation, and the screenplay does something so smart here. It uses sound to put us right inside Walt's head while his entire world is falling apart in a doctor's office.
So the doctor's words, they're just a blur, right? Like a droning, incomprehensible noise.
And why? Because Walt's brain literally can't process the news he's just received. So instead, it fixates on this tiny, totally absurd detail, a mustard stain on the doctor's coat. I mean, think about that. Your world has just ended, and all you can focus on is mustard.
And here's the key takeaway from that moment. For Walter White, this diagnosis isn't just a death sentence. No, it's a deadline. All of a sudden, his entire life has an expiration date stamped on it.
And then, almost immediately, comes the second catalyst. It's just an offhand comment from Hank, almost a joke. He invites Walt to go on a ride-along to a meth lab bust. But for Walt, in that moment, it's not a joke. It's a spark. A dangerous, illegal, and weirdly logical idea.
Okay, so now we have the ingredients. A death sentence for a deadline and a really dangerous idea taking root. This is where the screenplay starts showing us Walt's first real active steps toward becoming someone else.
First thing he does, he tracks down a former student, Jesse Pinkman. And here's a fun little script detail. In the pilot, he's actually named Marion Allen Dupree. Anyway, Walt makes him an offer. And it's not based on friendship, not at all. It's cold, calculated blackmail. This is not the passive guy we met an hour ago. This is someone taking charge.
And just look at what he does next. Every single move is methodical, it's precise, and it's shockingly decisive. There is zero hesitation. He's basically taking the logic and rules of chemistry, but one thing in his life where he is an absolute master, and applying it to the total chaos of the criminal underworld. This is Walt, finally, using that big brain of his to solve a problem he can actually control.
And you know what? For the first time in what feels like forever, Walt isn't just doing a job. He's a master at something, an artist, and someone else finally sees it and tells him so. For a guy like Walt, that validation, that praise, it's probably more addictive than anything he could ever cook.
And this new sense of power, it starts to seep into his old, pathetic life. We see him confront these bullies who are making fun of his son, but he doesn't get angry.
He has this terrifying calm. The script says he's feeling a power that comes from a total absence of fear. He's got nothing left to lose, so why be afraid?
So, of course, this first cook inevitably leads to a violent showdown with some actual drug dealers. And, boom, just like that, we're full circle. We're right back in that chaotic desert scene from the very beginning. And how does he get out of it? Not with muscles, not with a gun, but with his brain. He uses chemistry. The exact same stuff he was trying to teach to those bored high school kids, he uses it to create a deadly gas and save his own life. It's brilliant.
So after all that, after nearly dying, after literally putting a gun in his own mouth, what's he left with? A shoebox full of cash, and a secret that is going to change his life and everyone's life around him forever.
And this line, this is Walt's own reason for everything that's happened. When Jesse asks him why he's suddenly breaking bad, he doesn't talk about money, he doesn't say it's a midlife crisis, he just says, I am awake. It's like he's admitting that he's been sleepwalking through his own life for the past 50 years. And really, that's the big question the pilot leaves you chewing on. What happens when a man who has nothing left to lose is finally, truly woken up? It's not just a story about a guy turning to crime. It's about the terrifying and maybe even exhilarating potential that was buried deep inside him all along. And with that one question, the stage is set for one of the greatest character transformations we've ever seen on television.